exciting, and we're about to see an exciting 65-kilogram bout between two of these hot prospects. Oliver Stokes there in the red corner, taking on Ibragimov in the blue corner. Ibragimov coming from that team Shishkabekov, Magomed Shishkabekov. You see Majid Garib there in there, and I know he does some rounds at All Powers with you as well.
Yes. So yeah, like you said, you know, these guys have got strong camps behind them now, and they're working on a lot. As you can see, look at that. That's a lot of very, and then he goes into his wrestling, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's just an amazing example of what I've just said. These guys now understand how to put it together.
And how to put it together, indeed. And it was Oliver Stokes that actually closed the distance a little bit there on Ibragimov. And we've got two different body types, but we've got a very particular set of skills that come out of that team Shishkabekov. You look at the wrestling, the grappling, the combat sambo background, the wushu sando background. All these Chechen, Dagestan fighters they come from. It's unreal to see, isn't it? Yeah, it's, you know, and sometimes this is where me, as someone who's been a part of the sport from earlier, you know, I feel like as for the English culture in terms of combat, I feel like the Dagestanis, the wrestling pedigree of these guys is on a different level. And Oliver Stokes doing all he can to stand up that long frame, but every single time he does, Ibrahim making adjustments. Yeah, and this is where, for me, it's kind of, you have to create that space. So if you see how he's leaving his legs and they're not actually doing anything. He needs to be using them legs. He needs to be pushing on the waist. He needs to be using them to create the space, so then he can get his hips out and explode and get to his feet. And he also needs to be using the cage walk with someone with such strong base and control. You're going to struggle to be able to reverse that position. You need to be exploding back to the cage now and getting them whizzers and bridging and getting them hips back to the fence and then walking back up with that wrist control. There's so much to think about in these. There's loads of little battles going on as well. The head position, hand fighting, all that sort of stuff. So much to think about now for Oliver Stokes, but wow, using those long links very impressively there. Yeah, and this is where it comes down to that flexibility. You know, you can be, I always say, supple fighters, flexible fighters, they are able to do more in the cage, and they're able to get out of more complicated situations just based on their flexibility. But as you can see, you know, the top control, it seems to be a little bit too much for him. Now he's going back. Look, he's going back and he's not actually getting any form of whizzer to give him some form of leverage to create space to get himself back up by the cage. One thing I will say is that fighters need to understand that the cage, if you watch all of it, you know, look at a lot of my fights, as soon as I hit that canvas, I am shrimping to that cage and I'm using that to get up. And that shows the switch in the sport as well. It used to be the cage would hold people down, yes. T2 Ortiz, things like that, but yes. Now it is, you've got to learn how to use it, and you can see the difference between gyms that really work that cage wrestling. Exactly. Yeah. And you could see that with, you know, in terms of Lerone Murphy. Oh my goodness. You know, yeah. Every time he got taken down in his debut, he shrimped back to that fence, and that's what he used to get himself up as well, besides the guillotine that he did as well. But that was a good first round. Good first round between these two fighters. And Oliver Stokes, you look at that corner as well. What a wealth of experience, and one of my favourite characters in MMA as well, Martin Stapleton over there. How much fun is that guy? This guy is somebody that I've known for over 13 years now. He's a brother of mine, a friend of mine. He's a passionate coach, and anybody that comes from his gym is going to be of a high caliber of fighter, and you can just see that, you know, you can see the passion in Martin now. He's speaking to his fighter, and guaranteed he's going to have a solid approach to come out with. And we should see some major adjustments in this fight now. And that's what it kind of comes down to as well, having those people in your life. And sometimes it's a lottery, isn't it, as far as where you are and what gym you can get to. And Oliver Stokes has really hit the jackpot there with the sort of corner there and the bodies that are coming out of Full Contact Performance Centre. Yeah, you know, they've got the bodies in there, they've got the strong and coach team. And the facility, I believe that the Full Contact Performance Centre is possibly one of the best facilities in the country. Europe as well, at the size of it. Yeah, and definitely in Europe, yep. So we're set for round number 2 here. Oliver Stokes, red corner, taking on Ibragimov in the blue. So you see how he's using the jab now. He's using that jab there to keep him at bay, keep him at distance, to have him thinking now about shooting him for that takedown. There you go. And this is the subtle adjustment that you can see after he's had his conversation with Stapes. Stapes has told him, use that jab, keep him out. And now look, he's struggling to go for that takedown there. Oh, but this is the issue. Yeah, it's amazing. Timing as well on that. You talk about timing with hands, but in mixed martial arts, where wrestling is such an important part, it can be the difference in you can dictate where the fight goes. If you're timing for your takedowns, you can read strikes, that sort of thing. That is as valuable as a knockout punch.
And you know, this is why I say, look, there's always a counter to something. You know, he's jabbing to keep him at the range, but look, when someone's so sharp with their wrestling, it's hard. You see top level guys do it. It happened to me in my fight. I got taken down in my fight. I was using the range, but sometimes some people are just so sharp at their specific thing, and this is what's happening in this situation here.
And also, when you look at these standing side by side, two different body types, the long, tall, rangy Oliver Stokes and the shorter, stockier, thick-thighed there, Ibragimov, but everybody's the same height on the ground.
Yeah, but you know, with Ibrahim, you can tell that he's very compact. He's got a lot of strength, and he's able to use that to close down his opponent and keep him. Look, as you see how he's pushing up now, he's keeping him from being able to use them. Look, he can only use them levers at range extension, and what Ibrahim's doing is he's not allowing him to get that extension, so therefore he's in a better position, and look, he's pulling the levers, his posts, and now he's controlling the fight from the ground.
Well, range is such an important thing. They talk about it on the feet so much, but you just described that there. If you have given no space to your opponent, then they can do no damage. You're out of danger, and you can control, exactly. And you're the one putting the pressure.
And this is what you're seeing happen in front of us here now. But I would really like to see, you know, cage work used here. There you go. He needs to be trying to bridge off and trying to get his bum back to that fence, holding a whizzer and coming up, controlling the wrist.
Again, trying to make some space there, but relentless like a wet blanket is Ibragimov.
Exactly, and you see he's trying his hardest to get his feet on the waist, but like you said, Ibrahim's got them strong hips that he's closing forward and making it hard for him to do anything.
Clock ticking now, just 20 seconds left in round number 2. And Stokes has avoided damage. That's one good thing. He's not really been in a fight-ending position, and Jason Furnace has stood him back up there with just 14 seconds left. Yeah,
you know, hats off to Stokes for being able to keep the damage limitation down, but at the same time, you can't be on your back in these fights for not doing anything, not throwing up any submissions or anything like that, because the judges are going to score you down for that.
So that is 2 rounds, you'd have to say, in the books there for Ibragimov. Again, we're going to look across the corner at Martin Stapleton.
Yes.
We saw adjustments happen. What you're looking for now is it just go for it, but if you do that, you can almost open up an easier takedown, right?
Well, look, there's 2 rounds down, okay? If you win 1 round, you're still 2 rounds down. So the only thing for you to do now is to go out and finish your opponent. And that's going to be hard when you've got somebody who's ready to shoot under you. And you can see in the height difference, look at the height difference, it's not hard for Ibrahim to shoot because his opponent is a lot taller than him, so his hips are very close for him to shoot into. So it's going to be tough for him. And it'd be interesting to see the adjustments that he made. You've seen in the second round he made subtle adjustments. Now Stapes has gone in, give him his instructions. You know, he looks confident, he looks ready, but let's just see what happens.
So we're set for round number 3 here. And again, we talk about these as learning curves, these as experience. It's one thing we haven't seen from Oliver Stokes is break mentally under this sort of pressure. And we've seen it at professional levels all around the world when they feel this sort of wrestling, that the style of Habib, it can break a fighter mentally.
Of course it can. It's not easy when you've got somebody who's strong and holding you down, when you're used to potentially, there you go, once again he's gone in for that single. Now he's shooting in for the double. He's got the hands clasped. There you go.
Look at that technique though.
Exactly. And that was amazing.
Chaining it together.
That was amazing. He chained it together, amazing. He shot in, he got the single leg, pulled it through, pushed him against the fence, got the double, clasped his hands, and now look, he's on the floor. But this is what you need to be seeing from all. More attempts off his back. If he's not going to be getting up, he needs to be doing them attempts to do something to, you know, because he's down on the scorecards, and if it stays like this, then he's lost the fight.
Down on the scorecards and the clock ticking as well, 2 minutes 15, and that was a fantastic takedown from Ibragimov. Oliver Stokes showing a little bit there. But this is pressure, real zapping pressure, almost like a cardio vampire. Ibragimov just working on grinding down Oliver Stokes.
And I'm very big on body types as well, and this actual style suits Ibrahim's body type. He's short, he's stocky, he can just force the pressure, he's got strong hips, strong glutes, strong legs, and you can see this is exactly what he's doing. He's using his body type, his strength to his advantage, and this is how he's going to win the fight.
I do like, though, it's not a lay and pray style, is it? There's short shots going in, you can hear, because he's right in front of us here in the commentary desk.
No, he's staying busy. He's definitely staying busy, and this is how you can, you know, keep the fight where you want it to be, because if you're not throwing any punches, you can be guaranteed that the referee's going to stand the fight up.
Yeah, Jason Furness is keeping an eye on this, but Ibrahim keep doing enough work. Stokes avoiding enough damage for this being stopped just yet.
Yeah, and it's not easy to, you know, when you've got something like Stokes, look, you know, he's throwing his guard up there, you can tell he's loose, but it's not easy to land strikes when you've got somebody who is so supple on the bottom and, you know, who's making it a little bit hard for you. But nevertheless, he is doing work, and he is doing damage at the same time.
Now just 50 seconds left in round number 3 here. And Team Shishkebekov once again putting this grappling on display here.
Yep, the corner are giving him amazing information. You can see that he's listening to his corner, and you know, we've got 30 seconds left, and to me, he's done enough to, well, more than enough to get the win on this fight.
And that's very impressive. Oliver Stokes, a record of 2-0 at amateur. Ibragimov making his debut here. Yeah, but he's fighting way beyond a debutant, isn't he?
Yeah, listen, this is why, you know, and also sometimes you have to be aware that these guys have got previous of other types of competitions, but in MMA, you know, this is his debut. Yeah, but you can tell this guy's, he's got a lot of potential, and he has done, you know, he's had some form of competition in the past.
So clock's ticking down, final seconds, there we go.
There you go.
Wow, impressive stuff there from Ibragimov. And a tough test for Oliver Stokes, but one that lessons will be learned from, and also positions that he's now will have felt, and he can work on it. In this amateur game, it's about finding your weaknesses, finding those holes, because that's what people will be training for, right?
Of course. Let's just not take anything away from the fact that these guys are amateurs, and we're seeing them compete at a high level with a high level of skill set. And this is time for the coaches to identify the weaknesses, go back, work on it, and keep them going. And it's down for the coaches as well to maintain. It's not all just about the actual ability, it's the mental as well. The coaches have to keep these fighters mentally strong to know that it's a learning curve.
Without a doubt. So we'll make this official. We'll get in that cage, get that arm raised. Great fight once again here at Euro Fight Night. So after 3 rounds of competition, we go to the judges' scorecards. By unanimous decision, this goes to the blue corner, Ibragimov!